One winter, a queen sat by a window, sewing. She pricked her finger on a needle, and 3 drops of blood fell onto the ebony frame. Looking at the red blood against the black wood and white snow, a wish formed in her heart. She wished for a child with skin as white as snow, and lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony. Time passed, and the queen bore a beautiful daughter. The child matched her wish perfectly, and they named her Snow White. Sadly, the good queen died soon after Snow White's birth. The king, lonely, remarried a woman known for her vanity. This new queen possessed a magical speaking mirror. Every day she would stand before it asking, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" For many years the mirror always replied, "You, my queen, are the fairest of them all." Snow White grew into a young woman, her beauty blossoming with each passing season. One day the mirror's answer changed, declaring Snow White the fairest. The queen's face twisted with jealous rage. She summoned a loyal huntsman and gave him a cruel command. He was to take Snow White deep into the forest and kill her. As proof of the deed, he was to bring back her heart. The huntsman led Snow White into the dense woods, his heart heavy. When the moment came, he found he could not harm the innocent girl. He begged her to run away, to never return to the castle. To deceive the queen, he killed a young wild boar. He took its heart back to the castle, presenting it as Snow White's. Lost and frightened, Snow White wandered through the dark ancient trees. Just as despair began to set in, she spotted a tiny, charming cottage. Inside, everything was neat and tidy, but small. There were 7 tiny plates, 7 tiny mugs, and 7 tiny beds. Exhausted, she lay across 3 of the little beds and fell fast asleep. At dusk, the cottage's owners returned from their work in the mine. They were 7 dwarfs, surprised to find a beautiful girl sleeping in their home. Snow White awoke and tearfully recounted her sad story. The kind dwarfs offered her shelter and protection. They gave her one strict rule: she must never open the door to strangers. Back at the castle, the queen consulted her mirror once more. To her fury, the mirror revealed Snow White was still alive, living with the dwarfs. Determined, the queen disguised herself as an old peddler woman. She journeyed to the dwarf's cottage, carrying a basket of wares. She offered Snow White a beautiful, tightly laced bodice. Snow White allowed her to lace it, but the queen pulled it so tight the girl fainted. The dwarfs returned, found Snow White, and quickly cut the laces, reviving her. Undeterred, the queen tried again, this time disguised as a different peddler. She offered Snow White a poisoned comb, which she slid into her hair. Snow White fell unconscious again, but the dwarfs found the comb and pulled it out. With a gasp, Snow White came back to life, much to the dwarfs' relief. For her third attempt, the queen crafted a perfect, tempting apple. One side was bright red, the other a pale, innocent white. She bit into the white side to show it was harmless. Snow White, convinced, bit into the poisoned red side and instantly fell as if dead. The dwarfs wept bitterly, unable to bury their beloved friend who still looked so alive. They built a beautiful glass coffin and placed her on a forest hill. One day, a prince rode by and saw the maiden in the glass coffin. Captivated by her beauty, he asked the dwarfs if he could take her with honor. As his men lifted the coffin, they stumbled over a root. The jolt dislodged the piece of poisoned apple from Snow White's throat. She gasped, her eyes fluttered open, and she slowly awoke. The prince, overjoyed, immediately asked for her hand in marriage. Snow White agreed, and the dwarfs were welcomed as cherished family at the wedding. Hearing of the wedding, the queen asked her mirror, which declared Snow White the fairest. The queen, defeated and consumed by her own evil, vanished from their lives forever.